How do I know what the cards say? Can I access it easily? So number 3 is accessibility, which is accessibility excellence. The number 4 thing is culture. And that's culture meaning, does the culture, and we talked about a lot here, does the culture support and want to grow people with disabilities? Do they inherently think that people with disabilities can get to the C-suite? That's a big thing to shoot for. It's a really big thing to shoot for. It's not something that I think a lot of people have thought about. But what are the barriers that we put in place? What additional things do we need to help people understand to demystify the capabilities of people with disabilities? And the last thing is the thing that I'm probably most passionate about. It's quality coaching. And the reason I say this is I've done extensive research into people with disabilities who are super successful, and have identified what are the qualities, what are the success factors that enable those individuals to achieve those levels of success. And I'm going to share a couple of things with you. In speaking with folks that I do at GE and Barclays and who've invited me in, and Unilever and PwC, every time I share these things, everyone comes and says, how can I do those? How can I do that? Because it sounds just right. So the number 1 thing is turning your disability into an advantage. Right? So how do you coach someone to do that? Who's helping them to do that? Right? So that means for me, for example, that teacher in 5th grade who told me that I didn't need to work so hard, I was able to turn that into an advantage, because every time that I thought that I couldn't do something, I would look again and say, okay, I'm going to shoot for something even higher than that. Right? So turning your disability into an advantage. And the second thing is perseverance in the face of extreme opposition, because we face this all the time. There's always opposition. But how much perseverance do we have as people? That's a determining factor. Those are 2 of the most prevalent determining factors. And I'll give you an example of how some of that might work. Just a quick story. John Hockenberry was a correspondent for NPR in a wheelchair. Now, he got sent to go to many war-torn places in the world, and his wheelchair was at his advantage, because during curfew, he could go out in the streets. Remind you, there's guys with machine guns all over the streets. He could go into the middle of the street, get a scoop on the story, because nobody thought he was a threat. So as that, he got the story, the scoop on it, on all the other networks because of his disability. And obviously, that's just one example of how you can turn your disability into your advantage. So, as I just finish up, as we look forward, I want us to try to remember 4 words. Let's focus on success.